It's the day after Scotland lost with a very disappointing defeat against a very charged up, motivated Italy team. In this video, we're going to be going over the player ratings for Scotland. I must say, to all the Scotland fans, thank you so much for all the support you guys have given to the channel. I've seen so many of you guys in the comments, and I really enjoy all the rugby conversations with all of you. This might be a bit harsh for Scotland fans to see because there's some really bad ratings here, but I do think Scotland will bounce back next week. Win or lose, I think it's going to be a great game against England, and I can't wait for it. Calcutta Cup is always a good one, especially as a neutral. It's always fun to watch. But guys, if you do enjoy the channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe to help the channel grow. I've also linked our second channel, our travel channel that me and my partner do down below. So if you guys are interested in that, go give it a subscribe. But let's get right into it. For Piers Skuman, I've gone for a 6 out of 10. I thought even though he didn't get the dominance he would have liked, he was probably one of the better forwards on the day. He's one of the guys that actually played with a bit of intensity, a bit of intent. He wanted Scotland to do well. You could just see the way he was playing. He's always a trusted ball carrier, and I thought he was okay. But overall, after a performance like this, the scores are going to be lower. So I've gone for a 6 out of 10 for Piers Skuman. For Ewan Ashman, I was very disappointed in his performance. I was one of the guys that was really hyping him up going into this game. I was really hyping him up, and I do think he's a great player, and I do think it was just a very off day. I mean, being a number 2 in those conditions, it's going to be tough. You're not going to get accuracy, and Italy were really on the ball when it came to line-out time, and the whole forward pack from Scotland just looked a step behind Italy. Italy just showed up, and Scotland's forward pack just seemed off the mark a little bit, and especially for a hooker, it's going to be tough. If your locks aren't getting up as quick as possible, if your props aren't lifting as quick as they can, it's all going to look bad. So I've gone for a 4 out of 10 for Ewan Ashman, but I know he will bounce back. For Xander Fagerson, a guy that's normally so good around the park, he was almost nowhere in my opinion. Maybe I saw the game a bit different. I tried to see what he was doing. He didn't have a normal game for him. Obviously the conditions played a part, but I think in these conditions as a forward, that's where you have to take charge. There's not really much the backs can do. Yes, early on in the game, the backs could have done maybe a bit more, but in those conditions, you need dominance in your forward pack, and you need all 8 forwards to step up and get some dominance on attack and defense. So I've gone for a 5 out of 10 for Xander Fagerson. Not his best day in the office, but he's also one of those guys I rate very highly, and he will bounce back. Number 4, Scott Cummings. Made a few really silly errors. Discipline wasn't too clean as well. I've gone for a 5 out of 10. I thought he could have had a much better game, and in these kind of games you don't need silly lapses in concentration like that you got with some of the guys in the Scotland pack. He will bounce back, but a 5 out of 10, and I think that whole forward pack for Scotland needs to go back to the drawing board. Same goes for Grant Gilchrist as well. I mean, they fell off tackles. They weren't as dominant as they normally are. I don't know if it was a thing of the warm-up not being good or the preparation in the week not being good, but if I'm not mistaken, I'm sure Scotland also went and trained in summer weather conditions, in the warm weather conditions, if I'm not mistaken. And we've seen it now with a few teams, the likes of an Ireland, the likes of Scotland now. They went and trained in the warm weather. Come game day, they're playing in extremely cold conditions, and it just seems like the guys' bodies aren't ready for it. They're just not up for it. So that's going to be worrying for them, but they are good players. They have a very good lock pairing in Scotland. They have good lock depth as well. And I think they're going to be tested. Next week's going to be a tough game. England forward pack is no joke right now. They are absolutely ruthless, and Scotland need to actually get ruthless again because they lost at this game. Number 6, Matt Fagerson. I've gone for a 6 out of 10. I thought he was okay. He gets around the park well. It's not just a one-man show either. It's going to be tough for one guy to try to do everything, and I think he has a high work rate. He always tries hard. Same for Rory Dodge as well, but it just didn't come off. Some days it's just not going to work out for you, and yesterday for Scotland, it literally didn't work out for every single player, which is why I think Scotland can actually look forward with some positivity, because I think this is Scotland's worst game they've played in years, and they still almost won the game. So that is a sign of a good team, but they still shouldn't be losing games like this. But Italy did show up. Really, they showed up big time. So yeah, 6 out of 10 for him. Same for Rory Dodge. I've gone for a 6 out of 10. He didn't have his best game, but he's the one guy that just doesn't stop working. He has a massive engine. Massive work ethic on the field, and he has those really good uncoachable things, which I still saw from him, which I really liked. So 6 out of 10. Number 8, Jack Dempsey. Probably the only guy I really thought played very well on the forwards. Not very well, but he played well. He was beating defenders. He was making good tackles. He was using his footwork. He was almost the one guy that it clicked for him in these conditions. It's going to be tough to tackle me. Let me actually evade these guys. It worked for his first try. He used it later on, and it kept working throughout the game. He was the one guy I realized that kept making advantage over the advantage line. So Jack Dempsey, I've gone for a 7. It's not going to be easy for an 8 off the back of a scrum getting dominated as well. It's just going to be tough, and I think he had an okay game with what he was given. Moving on to number 9, Ben White. Now, this is where it gets a bit interesting. Being a number 9 and a number 10 in these conditions is already tough. But if your forward pack isn't getting dominance, you're going to look terrible. I've gone for a 6 out of 10 for Ben White. I thought he was okay. The forwards weren't really accurate at ruck time. They weren't brutal over the ball. They didn't get quick ball. So it was always going to be tough for a guy like him. I thought he was okay. Maybe expected a bit more from him. So a 6 out of 10. Finn Russell as well. I've gone for a 6 out of 10. I was going to go for a 6.5, but look, the reason why I'm not giving him higher isn't because I thought he should have done spectacular stuff. I thought his kicking was actually quite good in the first half, especially for the corners, and he actually got his team in good positions to try a score early on. And I really thought early in the game, okay, well, here comes Scotland back with 2 quick tries right after Italy scored. After Italy scored their first try, I thought Scotland was going to score in the next 30 seconds after. It looked like that, and then Scotland just didn't capitalise. Silly mistakes, silly errors, team not being on the same page. But I don't think Finn Russell's to blame for that. In those conditions, you can only do so much. And if you expect him to be a magician in those conditions, I dare you to go play in those conditions. It's going to be tough. So 6 out of 10, an okay performance. Number 11, Jamie Dobie. I've given him a low score, 4.5, because he really struggled. He looked out of his depth a bit. But I understand it. I do understand it. It's one of his first games there. And he's playing with pressure on his back with Darcy Graham and Duan van der Merwe right behind him. Conditions are not in his favour. The scrum off and fly off from Italy are putting really accurate kicks on him the whole time. In those conditions, away from home, everything else isn't working out for everyone, and he was just one of the victims of that as well. So I think he will bounce back. I hope he gets given another opportunity, because I think all of these guys that played this week against Italy will 100% bounce back together as a group next week. And I think the worst thing you can do right now with Scotland is completely change the selections, because these guys are going to bounce back, and they're going to bounce back really hard against England. So that's going to be a good game to watch. Number 12 and captain Sione Tuipulotu, I've gone for a 5.5. I thought he was okay. With what he was given, he tried. Italy's defense was just so good, and those centres, I think the centre from Italy really got the better of Sione Tuipulotu and Hugh Jones yesterday in their game. They're going to have to go back to the drawing board to see what they could have done better, but once again, as a backline player, it's going to be tough if your forwards don't get dominance, if your forwards are just not getting that ruck speed. It's going to be tough, especially with how Italians were tackling yesterday, their dominance, their physicality, their aggression in the tackles. There was never a chance for Scotland to get over the advantage line with back football. So 5.5 for him and a 5.5 for Hugh Jones. I thought he was also just average. And look, they could have done more, but I can't really blame them based on how everything went for Scotland in the game. I think basically everything that could go wrong for Scotland went wrong. So the fact that they were still in it at the end is actually quite a testament to what a good team they can be. And I expect them to really bounce back next week, because I was saying to myself, it looks like Scotland can't find their identity right now, but it is hard in those conditions. But early on, it's inexcusable that Scotland had such a slow start. But moving on to number 14, Kyle Steyn, I've gone for a 6 out of 10. I thought he actually had a good game. He's the one guy that actually tried and made meters. He's basically, for me, like the Jack Dempsey of the backline here. He played well. I think he's definitely secured his spot. And you could see he was trying to lead from the front. He was trying to get the guys going. It was tough for him. He was never going to get the ball with a lot of space. He was really good in close quarters. That's what I like about Kyle Steyn. He's a guy that can play in those close quarters, and he can try and make things happen. I'd like to see him maybe run a bit more outside the shoulder, Finn Russell, but they didn't even get the ball in the front foot, so it's going to be tough. Number 15, Tom Jordan, I've gone for a 5. The whole back three, it was a tough day in the office. Alessandro Fusco from Italy was putting up box kicks that had 5-second hang times. It's going to be tough anyways with those types of box kicks on a dry day. Now make it heavy underfoot. Italy's players ramped up for the game. Good chase lines from Italy. And Scotland just not being the best in the aerial battle yesterday. It was never going to be fun. Had a part to play in that first try, a bit of lack of coverage and communication between him and Jamie Dobie, but they will go back to the drawing board and fix that, and I think that was just also a bit of magical skill from Italy, well-planned manoeuvre that they definitely planned midweek, and they'll go back to the drawing board and make sure that doesn't happen again. Number 16, George Turner, I've gone for a 4 out of 10. Same as Ewan Ashman, came on, struggled. What do you expect? Look, these scores are bad, but I think these players can all bounce back from it, and I think it could have been a lot different, but I think these players will all personally go back to the drawing board and bounce back from this and have a much better performance next week. Nathan Macbeth and Elian Miller-Mills, the two props on the bench, I've gone for a 5 out of 10. Didn't really get any dominance in the scrums, weren't dominant around the park, weren't lazy, they tried, they just couldn't get the dominance. The Italians really just bullied Scotland yesterday. It was crazy to see Scotland get bullied like that, but I think they'll sort it out for England, but England are going to come with some physicality. They absolutely bullied Wales yesterday. Gregor Brown, I've gone for a 4.5. Didn't really see too much from him. George Horn, I've gone for a 7. I thought he was the one shining spark off the bench for Scotland. He was actually quite good. I don't expect him to start next week. This doesn't mean I think he should be the starter. I've said multiple times that I think George Horn is best suited to playing off the bench. He's a nippy guy. He's good in the open play. He's good if you need a quick try, even if you're in the lead and you need to get a further lead, or if you are behind and you need to chase a game. The way he did, he's the perfect guy to have there. Adam Hastings not available, didn't get any minutes. Hopefully he gets some game time next week. And Darcy Graham, I've gone for a 6. I thought Darcy Graham was... Look, things didn't work out for him when he came on, but he actually tried to make things happen. He played with some intent. He played with some vigilance. He was actually showing a bit of IQ there, especially with the one turnover ball where everybody was saying he was offside, but he wasn't. That was actually just smart, intelligent play from him. That was where I knew that Darcy Graham really wanted Scotland to win this game. He was one of those guys that's going to try and make sure it happens. I still don't expect him to start next week. I wouldn't be surprised if they started him, but I don't think they should, because I think next week they should stick with the same lineup and just give them another go and then see from there. I mean, right now, the rankings in World Rugby right now don't matter at all. The Six Nations right now, they're going to have to try win it. But realistically, right now, after losing to Italy in the first game, it's going to be tough. So what I think Scotland should do right now is still try win every game. Give this other group of players a proper go next week again. Let them bounce back in hopefully better conditions and at home. Then you can see from there who you should select, who you should drop, and so on. I think dropping people based on one game maybe is a bit harsh in those conditions. And the whole team didn't pitch up. It wasn't just one person's performance. But yeah, guys, that is my player ratings for this. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do agree, let me know down below. If you don't agree, let me know as well. Really been so thankful for all the Scotland fan support. You guys have been absolutely awesome, and I know you guys are going to bounce back against England. But I'll be covering all the previews, all the team selections, everything for next week's games, and I'll see you then. Cheers.